Okay, guys, we're back. Episode 2, season 2. Got my partner in crime here, Jeff Brown. I'm Tony Castanero. Welcome to OversteerTV online, the podcast. And boy, do I got a lot of stuff to talk about today.
And just the title is enough right there. Is getting it.
So, Jeff, sit down, get comfortable. Here it comes.
Okay.
Indycar. What the
Indycar
what the fuck is going on at Indycar? Okay.
this
Two
weekend.
weeks 2 weeks ago, the IndyCar Series president, Jay Fry, was fired. We talked about it last week. They fired him on a Friday afternoon, so nobody would talk about it and everything. So like now, 2 days ago, what does IndyCar do? You have your IndyCar and then the series below, what used to be called Indy Lights, now it's called NXT, the NXT series. They decided to fire this guy less than a week before their season starts. Okay, what's this guy's name? Yeah. Richard Buck, who came from NASCAR. They hired him. The thing is, they even hired him only December 10th. Okay. Now you're running a series, you own a series, and you got a guy running it, and you're gonna fire him a couple of days before the season's supposed to start. Now I don't know what's going on in IndyCar. The Penske Media Group, they fired Jay Fry. They get Doug Bowles as head of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, make him head of that also, of IndyCar. They got that. Now they fired this NXT guy here, and so everybody was kind of joking. What are they going to do? Put Doug Bowles as head of that also? Guess what? Doug Bowles is running NXT also. Okay. This is I don't really. If you're working for a company, you're working for a corporation, and the two subsidiaries, they fired the chairman of both of the subsidiaries within 2 weeks of each other, right when everything's supposed to be getting started and everything. Um, I don't know what's going on. It's some crazy politics going on there. Some really weird decisions. It doesn't seem smart to me. I know if I was like working for IndyCar, if I was one of the stewards or something like that, or something, I'd be updating my resume and being on
Yeah.
LinkedIn every day because you don't know what's going to happen. Okay, because it's obviously they're upset about something. They need changes, but it's crazy because everything was great up until, according to them, until 2 weeks ago, and they had they're going to be on Fox and everything.
Right.
Seriously, what's going on? Is it Fox telling IndyCar these people got to go? Penske saying, "Oh no, we got to change some stuff here now." I mean, the timing is just atrocious.
Well, the question is, I know Roger Penske is in his 80s now, right? I
Right.
mean, is he turning over day-to-day operations to somebody else that's making these decisions? I mean, all this time, Roger Penske is like God. Nobody makes a move without
Right.
approval from Roger Penske.
Mhm.
But is that still the case, or is he stepping back and letting other people make these decisions?
Mhm. It's
That's a question.
there is a board. Penske Entertainment is technically everybody who owns everything. Of course, it's his name on the door, as they
Right.
say, name on the door, man. That's it. It all comes down to him. But
Yes.
I'm trying to, all these type of scenarios are going through my head. It's just Doug Bowles doing you know,
Yeah.
doing some art of war type stuff here and trying to take over Penske Entertainment. I don't think so. Um,
No.
because
No. While Roger Penske's still alive
yeah,
and
yeah,
the capacity to make these decisions,
mhm,
that was my first thought. Is
yeah,
is Roger making these decisions? Is the captain still the captain?
yeah. And that brings up another thing. Tim Cindric, who everybody for years thought, okay, he's the guy who's going to take over when Roger steps down.
All right.
Guess what? He decided to go, well, guess what? I'm not going to be running the IndyCar team anymore. I'm going to step back. He's going to be like doing some stuff with all the historical documents and stuff like that and everything. And I go, okay, something happened there. Could it be Roger Penske's son, Jay Penske, moving in and deciding, hey, I'm going to start taking over everything?
Yeah. Well, that was my thought that Roger Penske is stepping back
Mm-hmm.
and letting other people take charge and telling them to run, take the ball and run with it.
Mm-hmm. But okay, I can see. Okay, listen, we got this guy running the NXT series, and we might want to get rid of him. But the season is just about to start.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's literally today's
This,
Thursday. They
this
go on
weekend,
track
right?
tomorrow.
Right.
Okay. The practice is tomorrow. Uh, it doesn't make any sense. I can say, okay, maybe you make that decision. Yeah, well, we got to get rid of this guy. Let's start the season, and during the season, we'll find somebody to replace him. But let's get the season started, so everybody
Yeah.
knows their job and stuff like that. Right now, you got people going, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Probably, I'm sure the people been there for years know what to do. But, also the other thing is, and I know when you're doing a job, the last thing you want is some new guy looking over your shoulder going, hey, why do you do it that way? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Okay, ask me that question during the off season, not when I'm trying to do my job,
It's too late to do that now. Big sweeping changes are not going to happen, except for the guy in charge, evidently.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to make any kind of changes. He's just going to keep the ship pointed in the right direction for now.
And I like the way wait, the way that the Penske people should put it. The timing of the change gives Penske Entertainment an opportunity to start search for a new NXT director. They should have been doing that long before they made that decision. And it gives the guy, what's his name again, Richard Buck, the opportunity to find his next station at the early stage of the season. Oh, like they're doing him a favor.
Yeah. Yeah, you usually don't fire somebody unless you have somebody in mind to replace them. Like I want this guy, you're out. You just fire him with an open ended. Season's going to start, and we really don't have anybody in charge. That is kind of iffy.
And now you got
and they're starting this new contract with Fox, who's put a lot of money into the advertising alone.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got Fox starting up a whole they're saying this is the new generation for IndyCar. We're gonna, this sure, whatever they say that nobody believes anymore. And okay, but you got a new guy running the series, and now you got the same new guy running the NXT series also. I mean, I hope everything goes well, but I would not be surprised. There's some snafus going on during the event this weekend. St. Pete's been on the schedule for like over 20 years, so they should have it down to a science now.
It should run like a well-oiled machine. That's the way Penske sets things up. One guy going out here and there is not going to be a cog in the wheel. It's not going to slow things down or cause disruption. Everybody knows their job and they can do it. I have confidence in that.
Yeah, well, it's I find it frustrating because I've been IndyCar fan back kart days, okay, and kart was a spectacular series. It was huge. It was the most popular series in the United States. It was more popular than NASCAR back then. And
they had huge names. They had Mario Andretti. Yeah. They had AJ Foyt.
Right.
They had Michael Andretti, Bobby Rahal. These Rutherford. You had all these huge names that had been big names in the sport since the 60s.
But the series, it was like big names. The series created big names created a series. Then one day back, I think it was 96 or 97, some douchebag named Tony George decided, well, I could do better. And we all know what happened then. And that was the thing. Once the people in Indianapolis took over, it all went to crap.
Yeah. It was Tony George,
Tony George and all these guys, this Midwestern mafia, so to speak, they decided they could do better. And right now, when people ask me, I go, IndyCar right now is a Midwest regional series. Right? They have, if you look at a map of all their races, it's almost all of them are in the Midwest. You have 3 in California, and the only one the East Coast is St. Pete. Right. And if you've been to St. Pete, everybody's got a Midwest accent who lives in St. Pete. Okay. New Yorkers moved to Miami and Fort Lauderdale. New Englanders moved to West Palm Beach, to Rich the Kennedys and Palm Beach and stuff like that. And some rich New Yorkers. St. Petersburg is where old Midwesterns go. It is. It is the Des Moines of Florida. Okay.
We got Iowa cornfields out here.
It is, and I've been to St. Pete many times. I've been to the races many times. I always pass through St. Pete, and every time I go there, and I'm like, it's nice, but it's like literally it's like being in Milwaukee, but with palm trees. Okay.
And a nice beach, you know.
Oh, nice beaches and everything, yeah. But so anyway, Indy right now is a Midwest regional series. They're saying they're going to try to expand. They're looking at some street races and stuff like that. Right now, it's going to be very difficult to run street races. Most cities are against that now. The people, um, I don't know. I don't know. I want to do well. I want IndyCar to be prosperous. I want to enjoy it, but every time it just
They have a habit of shooting themselves in the foot.
yeah, it's like being a Dolphins fan. I love them. I want them to do well, but every year
Yeah.
they just disappoint me, man.
They're going to find some way to lose it in the end.
Yep. Oh man.
So who's the favorite going into the St. Pete race?
It's hard to tell. Now they've gone to that the whatever they call it now, the franchise or whatever. All these teams got locked into their starting. They're all going to be able to start. You got to look Alex Palau, the defending champion. You can't really.
Yeah.
You got Newgarden. You got it, it's either going to be a Penske or a Ganassi, most probably. The only person I can see an outsider is Pato O'Ward, driving for McLaren. He's
not really an outsider though. He's a contender to win it all this year.
He's the only one who's not driving either a Penske or Ganassi. The only other one I could think of. Everybody's talking about Colin Herta, and I'm like, he'll win one race this year, and then he'll also do some really crazy things and stupid things and cause a lot of problems. But I don't know. He doesn't seem to have the discipline to stay at the top and be like, I'm running up front all the time. Let's say like a Scott Dixon or Alex Palau or Joseph Newgarden. McLaughlin over in Penske is also the Australian guy. He has a good shot at it. There's really nothing new in IndyCar for this season except for the new Prima team that came over, the Italian team who runs in Formula 2 and a lot of other series over there. I like they actually did when they were displaying their cars with their logo, with their the new liveries and everything. They did like a Formula 1 style with a big show and lights and dance and everything. So hopefully they're gonna
showgirls, Brazilian showgirls.
So hopefully they're gonna lift the standards a bit.
Well, they've got the new Fox contract, so
yeah, that should be good.
Boost ratings, hopefully.
And I was so happy because I didn't have to listen to Lee Diffie anymore announcing IndyCar. And I go, there's no way. There's only one way they could possibly make it worse. That's if they hire Will Buxton. Will Buxton was like saying some really stupid things right now. I saw the interview the other day where he was going that he's talked to Formula. First off, he keeps on saying that he wants to be calling IndyCar races. Yeah, he does because they fired him from Formula 1. Okay, they didn't renew his contract. And now he's saying he's talked to Formula 1 drivers, and he said a lot of them said they don't want to race in Indy because they say it's too dangerous. And so that means that IndyCar drivers are better drivers.
Yeah. They're braver.
Yeah. Okay, so if I wanted to play in the NFL without a helmet, that makes me Tom Brady, So, well, let's see. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because I've seen him do color and do pit interviews and stuff like that. I've never seen him actually call a race. He might be good. And they're going to have Townsend Bell, who's okay, and Hinchcliffe, who I think is really good in the booth. So hopefully it'll be interesting. It's this weekend on Fox.
Yay!
So let's see how that goes.
Well, they're gonna have a NASCAR lead in, or no? I didn't
I
look at
think
the
the
schedule.
IndyCar is going to lead into the NASCAR. Where's
Okay.
NASCAR this weekend?
Oh God, don't ask me.
I think in California or out
Uh,
west somewhere.
Geez, I'm drawing a blank. I was ready to report on Atlanta, where they just raced, but
Oh, we'll get the
I
NASCAR.
had
We'll
not
get
looked
that in a
that far
second. But
ahead.
what is it? When is the next race? The Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. Where the heck is that?
Oh, that's Austin. That's the
Oh yeah, they're going to be at
Circuit of the
Dakota.
Americas,
Yeah, so
Texas.
yeah, okay.
I remember now. Yeah, Texas.
Yeah, so that makes sense. And Nick Carl will lead into the NASCAR Coda. So
They'll get their race on a Formula One track.
yeah, but they've I saw they cut the track. They're not going to do the whole track, the whole back end. They cut out. They made it shorter. Um,
That's
I
because the
don't
cars are so slow.
know.
You compare the lap times, you know.
I gotta look at that. Look at it like what was a NASCAR time compared to I remember when the IndyCar raced Dakota a couple years ago, their pole position was 14 seconds behind the slowest Formula One car. So I can imagine
That's what somebody was asking on Facebook. They said, "Who's faster,
yeah,
Formula One or IndyCar?" And I'm
yeah,
like, "The fastest IndyCar is slower than the slowest Formula
Formula
One
One
car."
car. Yeah.
Now, maybe top speed, like at Indianapolis somewhere where they're doing 230 something.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
never
yeah.
seen Formula
Well,
One
that's what their
car do
argument that they go faster in
230.
their top ends faster. Look at Indy, and they go, yeah, but if you took a Formula One car to Indy and trimmed it out like
Yeah,
they do in Indy and changed the gearing, it's Formula One cars are lighter. They have carbon fiber brakes and they have more power. Of course, they're going to be faster. So, but
yeah, more downforce.
so I'm looking forward. Hopefully, it's going to be a nice, clean race in
It's
St. Pete.
Tampa. It's never a clean race.
No, no, no.
It's very narrow. That's one thing I remember when we went
Yeah,
up there to see the race live,
yeah,
was how narrow that first one, two, and three, just getting through turns one,
yeah,
two, and three
yeah. They go.
is if you can make it through that first lap, then your chances are good.
Yeah, yeah. It's got that wide. They start the front straight's a wide airport runway, and then
Yeah,
turn one is like okay, you can make a right turn, and then there's like a funnel.
yeah. And then all of a
And,
sudden you're down to one car wide,
yeah,
and if you're not in line, or you're not going through there too wide,
and
not without wrecking.
we've gone back on that side of the track, and it's like driving through a canyon. It's
Yeah.
so narrow, and then it's back out in the open again by the bay and all that stuff. It's one of the more enjoyable races. A little more. It's pretty exciting. Uh, we'll see. We'll see. I hope it goes well. I hope everything goes well. Uh,
Maybe next year we'll get up there again.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, couldn't make it this year. Um, what else? What else? NASCAR. What's going on? They had that race.
NASCAR was in Atlanta.
Yeah, and they finished that race under the yellow.
No, they never finished under yellow.
No,
Well, I mean, they threw the yellow on the last lap.
right.
Once you take the white flag, then the next flag
Yeah,
ends the race.
yeah,
And NASCAR, they keep saying we want to finish. We want to let them race to the line,
mm-hmm.
start finish line, but they never do. I mean, they're wrecking in turn 3.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason why they can't race back to the start finish line. They have turns 1 and 2 to get slowed down before they get to a wreck.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just too quick to throw that caution on the last lap. I understand any other lap, as soon as somebody wrecks or whatever happens, the yellow
Right.
has to immediately come out. But that last lap, unless it's between the leaders and the start finish line,
Yeah.
just let them run it out.
Yeah. Well, whatever they do, whatever they decide, whether they want to like as soon as the light turns yellow, that's it. It stopped
That's
there. The
early.
position is or race to the line. Either way, stick to it. That's all I want. Make up your mind. It's either this or that.
Well,
You
it
know.
is. It's that way. They say want to let them race to the line, but if there's a bad accident that they have to get to quickly, then they're going to throw the caution. So it is kind of uniform as far as them sticking with the same procedure. But I just don't. I just say it's the last lap. Let them run it out.
Well, you see, I understand why they threw the yellow flag because it was the last lap and everybody was packed in tight. The accident happened. Yeah, those guys in front can race the line, but what about the guys behind the accident coming up to the accident? They got to stop and slow down because of things. So, and you can't just say, okay, half the field stops and half the field can go. Who decides who can go and who can't? So I understand throwing the yellow flag for everybody. Okay, but
right, and it's an individual case, case by case basis. Right. They have to look at it and say, okay, the track's clear, let them run it out, or like you said, there's back runners back there that could run up in there and get in trouble. Yeah. But I mean, if they're wrecking in front of you and you're not lifting, then you're, I mean, it's the last lap. It's a different animal. You have to let them run it out.
Those points cost money. And you see that accident in front of you, go, oh, they're down low on the apron. Let me keep on going here on the outside.
They come back across.
Yeah, they come back across, or you hit some debris and you blow out a tire. You just, destroy everybody. And, if you're going to do it, fine. Stop them. Okay. And then if you want to, yellow flag at the moment, stop it. That's where everybody stops. Clean it up, do another lap, try it again.
Well, no, the last lap, once the leader takes the white flag, the next lap finishes the race. Now, if it happens right before he takes it, then they'll start it over in 2 laps,
I think the actual solution would be, it'd be kind of draconian, but I go with 10 laps to go in a race. If you cause an accident, you can't start the next race.
Oh.
Yeah, I look at that pain in your face.
I would say maybe you cause a wreck that you have to pull off. Maybe you can't finish this race.
Yeah, but if you cause a wreck, usually you can't finish the race anyway.
Well, no, you can cause a wreck without doing any damage to yourself. Just ask Kyle Busch.
But he's an expert at that. You got to do something to say. Maybe not just disqualifying for the next race, but something pretty severe.
Maybe a penalty, maybe a grid penalty where you're going to start in the back, something like that,
or just you lose all your points for that race or whatever. I mean, you got to do something because you've seen it. That comes down to the last couple of laps, and people do some really stupid things. They think they can get away with it, and the way the car is now, that everybody they race for 400 miles and they're still all bunched up in a pack. There's no separation, so. People who have there are people there who, some guy who's, nobody even remembers their name, and all of a sudden they're causing accidents. Or
speaking of not being able to remember names, let me say Christopher Bell won the race while I still remember his name. Yep. He's like, I'm like, who won the race? I know the guy. He drives for Gibbs. He's just another one of these young kids that a lot of talent and just can't remember their name.
Yeah, it's one. Well,
and he should have a memorable name. He's won a lot of races. He's actually a very good driver, or he wouldn't be winning races. And it's just, we've got this new crop of drivers coming into NASCAR, and it's just you have to pay attention, or you just lose track.
It happens all the time. It usually happens in bunches. And remember when I saw later, I didn't watch the race, but I saw the highlights at the end of the day, and I watched how he wins, and I go, I hope that kid buys a lottery ticket because today was his lucky day.
That's basically what it was, because
he should have finished third.
Yeah. Or he should have actually been in the wreck. He just squeezed through right up against that wall. I mean, it was there was a lot of cars wrecking on that last lap.
He was coming in that last corner. He was dead meat, man. He was like they're just eating him up and everything. What else? Oh, Formula One was out practicing today in Bahrain the past 2 days, and the press tries to make a big deal about it, but it's just testing, so nothing really important is going to happen. You're not going to learn anything. The teams are learning about their cars, but you're not going to learn anything. The times mean nothing.
Right, they're sandbagging all the way.
They're sandbagging. They're just doing it segments, and you don't know. One car might be driving without hardly any gas in it. The other one's loaded, doing a whole race scenario, different tires and everything. It looks neat. It's good to get some B-roll, but other than that, it's good for teams. But for anybody else, it's it's amazing. I saw on YouTube. I was watching it. They did like a highlights package of practice, like Bahrain day one. Within 6 hours, they had over 750,000 views.
Wow.
Okay. And this is
that's just like our podcast here.
Pretty much. It was literally
just 10 minutes after we posted up.
No voiceover, nothing. It was just shots of the cars on the track. And what else? Oh, and the WCEC is in Qatar this weekend. Looks like I got to get HBO Max to be able to watch that because it'll be streaming on Max. So great. That's another $12 I got to spend.
Well, they're running a bundle now. You get Max and ESPN Plus and Hulu and something else. It's like 4 different ones you get.
I have to check that out because I already have Hulu
Disney Plus. Yeah, Disney Plus is part of that one.
Oh, Disney Plus.
Well, I've been wanting to watch that Beatles documentary, so I need to get it also.
Oh yeah, I got Disney for like a month just to watch that. And you'll enjoy it. You will enjoy it, but I mean, after a while, I was like, yeah.
Well, what is it, like 6 hours long or something?
Yeah, it's hours and hours and hours. And you just
I can't wait.
45 minutes of watching George Harrison tuning his guitar.
And it'd still be out of tune.
Yeah. All right, guys. We got St. Pete. We'll watch that. Coda for NASCAR. A lot of stuff going on. Hit us up. Send us some questions. Like us. Follow us. Do all that stuff. We'll see you next week. So, anything else, Jeff?
No, that's it.
All right. All right, guys. We'll see you next week for another OversteerTV Online, the podcast, season 2, episode 2.